much for coming on. It's pretty surreal uh, having you right here, sitting across from me. Just like 5 years ago, you were my football coach,
Yeah.
just giving us lessons right before we are about to go work hard in the weight room. Man, it's cool. It's cool. How you doing? How's your holidays?
I'm great, man. First off, I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I think it is awesome reflecting. It's funny that you started that way because that was my same reflection. When you asked me to be on, I thought it was cool. So to me, man, so proud of you, so happy for you
Thank you.
of the things that you're doing. It's a no-brainer, man. You're like, hey, coach, you want to do? I'm on the way.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
get it.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
So glad to be here, man. Let's get it.
So, first question. I texted you this yesterday. What does success look like to you? You know, when Chip Baker is striving for success, what is it that you're striving for?
You know, being that like my YouTube channel podcast is the Success Chronicles, like I'm super fascinated with success. And that's one thing I've, from being from a kid, I've always been curious about success because I'm gonna go back on you a little bit, like the Drake song. I just want to be successful, right? And so I've always strived to learn different things. But to me, I think it can be abstract yet simple,
Yeah.
or I think it could be simple yet abstract.
Gotcha.
Right. And so I think that it just kind of depends on where you are in your life, what your priorities are,
Yes, sir.
and when you're striving to do the things that are important to you at that moment. I think that's what success is to me, because it's changed like in different phases of my life. It's been this, it's a degree, get to college, those kind of things, career, like it's been different things. So I just think that wherever you are in the phase of your life is what you prioritize that's important to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, success for 20-year-old Chip Baker was a lot different than
Oh,
success for you now.
yeah, success for Chip Baker today is way different than it was last week.
Gotcha.
know.
Yes, sir.
And so, I mean, that's the goal,
Yeah.
is to have that continued growth.
Pretty malleable, be able to change.
Yep.
So, tell me about the impact of influence. Like, what's the overall goal of that book series that you're writing?
Man, I smiled, huh? When you asked me that, I smiled. I smiled because I'm really proud of that. I think, where I'm from, where I grew up with a single parent mom.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody that wrote books, but, like growing up, I ain't like authors, like I ain't know none of them, right? And just to see my name on a book, a real book, like a real book, it really blows me away, and I'm truly grateful for that. And when I started, kind of like we talked about with our definition of success, when I started, the goal was just to be an author.
Yeah.
As I went along the journey, I saw that there was other people that wanted to be authors as well. And so I knew people that did those things. So my goal was to set up opportunities for those people to become authors.
Yes, sir.
And so, anything I do, I know that it's bigger than me. I'm gonna just say like it ain't about me, And so just to share stories, highlight others, give people opportunities in hopes to make a positive difference in our world.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, something I really, really like about the book, and that it stood out from other, kind of success story books to me, was that it was an amalgamation of a lot of different lessons from a lot of different people. You have a lot of different perspectives. And I feel like as I've navigated through my own life, I found that there's never really one answer to everything. Everyone is unique, everyone has their own unique problems.
Yep.
Therefore, everyone's solutions are very unique. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed how you got so many different lessons and perspectives. That being said, what was the process of creating a book like that? Like, you have so many different authors. How'd you get all those people together to?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out myself. No, it's been cool, man. I think it's the beauty of having quality relationships. I can track this back to, being a kid, growing up, just striving to be a good dude, right? And you got some guys in the room, you and the guys in the room. I consider y'all the good dude status too, right? And so when you strive to be a good dude, good things organically happen for you. And that's what it was. That's what it's been for me. Like at the time, I didn't know that. It was just, striving to achieve the goals, do things the right way, treat people right. But what I didn't know is when you do those things on a day-to-day basis, man, the good stuff organically just comes to you. Well, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah,
But-
for sure. Yeah.
But the good stuff just happens for you and it comes to you. And basically that's how it happened. Man, like I speak. So I had an opportunity to speak for this group. And then it was a men's group virtually. Then a few months later, one of the guys in the group, he does self-publishing. He reached out to me and asked me, man, you ever thought about bringing some people together and putting them in a book? I was like, man, that's an awesome idea, right? And so along that same journey, I was doing my podcast, so I was coming in contact with some great people from all over the world,
Oh yeah.
developing those relationships, and then it all kind of just came together. And most of the people, like I asked, hey man, I'm doing this book. They didn't even let me feel like, yeah, I'm in, right? And so that's really how it came about. And we did the first one, and I mean that was amazing. We did a 10-city book tour. Like it really blew me away. Bestseller. Like it was cool. And so then from there, it's like, well, let's try it again. So now we continue to do all of those processes. And now we just dropped, volume 6.
Yes, sir.
And so the Impact of Influence book series, we're up to 6 volumes. And it all started with just trying to provide opportunities, trying to share stories, highlight other people.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I like that idea of kind of like you're doing good with your life and you're going to attract what you put out into the world, right? So you're doing a lot of good. You're in these men's groups, you're building quality relationships. And then all of that in the end kind of allows you to do this amazing book series. And I think that's really awesome. What is the motivation behind the title of the book? What exactly is the impact of influence if someone were to ask you?
So all of us have been influenced by someone or something in our lives, right? And we've been influenced in such a manner that it's impacted us and caused us to be who we are today, right? And so that's really the premise behind the impact of influence is, positive influential people that have reflected on those people or that thing or that scenario or experience that has influenced their life, and they just talk about what they learned from that, the blessings and the lessons, if you will, and then how they're using that to make our world a better place. That's the premise of the impact of influence.
And kind of to go into your role as a teacher and as a coach, from when you first started to now, it seems like you've had this incredible journey of growth. You're doing so many things now. It's really, really awesome to see.
Thank you.
How has your approach to guiding and teaching people changed since you first started,
Man, that's a really good question. How has it changed? Really not much, because I think that I'm the same dude in that aspect as far as, and I learned this as a kid, there's some core common principles, values that I believe in.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly believe in. Work hard, do right, treat people right, take care of business, put yourself around good people. And it don't matter what rains, shines, sleets, I'm gonna do that, right? And so in my life, I've just strived to do that from as a kid even to now. Like it's the same thing. So those things haven't changed, but of course, like the world changes, technology, like all those things. We were talking about some of the stuff before we started, like the technology, all different things. Like, of course, you have to learn those things to continue to grow, right? So you don't remain stagnant. So you have that continued growth, because I think continued growth is important. Like, how do I continue to get better and shift with the times? Because if you don't learn to adjust, sports analogy, if you don't learn to adjust, then, bro, you're going to get your butt beat.
And the game's always changing.
And the game's always changing.
Yes, sir.
And so, there's some core principles that I hold on to that ain't changed. But then, my eagerness to learn my eagerness to be the best version of myself, that continues to evolve because I think when I feel that I'm the best version of myself, I feel that I can give the best version of myself to those students and athletes and people that I'm blessed to be around.
Yes, sir. I wholeheartedly love that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Now, with all these ventures, I mean, the podcasting, the coaching, the writing, how do you stay motivated to do all these things? Where are you sourcing that motivation from?
Man, I think um, understanding that it's bigger than me, that it's not about me, understanding that I'm only going to have a short amount of time on this world, right? Understanding that my goal is to hopefully have an everlasting legacy that I can, pass on and be a positive influence to others. And sometimes people they look at legacy as a negative connotation, like it's about me, and I'm not that kind of guy. Like it's not about me. I know that it's bigger than me, but I definitely want to know that when I get to go visit the big man, that I've done some things to help others.
Yeah.
Right, and so that is my driving force. Like on a day-to-day basis, like I know I got people depending on me. Right, and if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, the people that I love and care about, they don't eat,
Yeah.
literally, right? And so I have to make sure that I do the things that I'm supposed to do to take care of business so that the people that I love and care about will benefit.
And is that something that you like? Is that motivation that you've had for a really long time, or did that kind of evolve, as you became a family man, as you like matured into the teacher that you are today?
Nah, man, that started as a young guy. I was raised with a single parent mom in a small town. Parents divorced when I was 5. I want to make sure I say this. My father was in my life, just in a different, city. He wasn't a deadbeat dad. He was a great guy, but just different, right? Dad wasn't in the house.
Yeah.
And so from that, I saw the struggles that we went through. I saw my mother work 3 and 4 jobs, just to provide the necessities that we needed. There was no extra, right? There was no balling out, like it was just whatever. And so I saw her work hard, and that showed me that life is important. That showed me that to not take things for granted.
Yeah.
It showed me the value of hard work, and it showed me that hard work works, right?
Yeah.
And so I was blessed and fortunate to see that in my family, right? And I also saw, because I'm a 4th-generation educator. I don't know if you knew that. So mom, grandmother, great-grandmother were all educators. And so it's in our blood to do that and give service. So I come from church, I say it like down south, church folk with no S.
Yes, sir.
Church folk and educators. And so just the heart of service, the heart of looking out for others and taking care of business. I learned that as a kid. And that's just something I've strived to do throughout my entire life. And so that's kind of where that drive has come from.
Yeah.
Just seeing that and seeing what it feels like, knowing what it feels like to be on the other side of that, to receive that. Right. So and I'm gonna say this to you. So like you were our coach when you played.
Yep.
As a coach, my hope is that anytime you were around me, you knew you was gonna have a good time.
You succeeded.
Check.
Yeah.
Right? Anytime you were around me, you knew that guy cared about me. Check.
Yeah. Check. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I was intentional about that. Right. I knew what it felt like for when people gave me that. And so that's the motivation, was to make sure that, hey man, that's good stuff when people do those things. I got to give that too. Right? And
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that has truly driven me my entire life.
You're receiving that gift, and then instead of kind of holding on to it yourself, you're giving it to others.
You can't hold on to the gift.
Yeah.
Your gift is a gift. Ooh, hold on. Let me give you that one again. Hey, so your gift is a gift. And what I mean by that is the big man has blessed us all with certain gifts and talents that we innately have or that we have worked on to develop. But the thing is, we have to make sure that we give that gift as well
Yeah.
to others, because as a person, we all like receiving gifts, right? Like it's one thing. It's one thing to receive a gift, and that's a great feeling.
Yeah.
But have you ever worked hard, did something, made money, and then bought a gift for somebody else that you love and care about, and then you give them that gift?
Yeah.
Oh man, that feeling far outweighs the feeling of receiving a gift.
It's so fulfilling.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
Yeah.
because you put the work in.
Yes, sir.
You know it means something for you. Like I've done this for you, right? Just to make you happy and make
Yeah.
sure that you're okay.
That just happened to me yesterday, actually. Like
Yeah.
I got paid for all the hours I did before Christmas, and I got all like the reimbursement from my travels,
Yep.
and I just got Christmas gifts, and I got groceries for the whole family, and it was a really great feeling, and it sticks with you. Sticks with you.
It's fulfilling.
Yeah.
And it reminds you to just keep doing what you're doing
Hmm.
because it makes a difference.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I really like this idea of kind of influence and this like chain of influence. You know, the hard work that your mother put in, raising you, being a single mother,
Yeah.
that inspired you, right? You took that gift and worked hard. You know, became a pretty great man, pretty great, like very great man, great educator, and then through that inspiration, you know, then you adopted those same qualities and inspired me, you know, inspired Miles, inspired all the people you coached. And you have this chain of influence that started maybe with your mom's parents or their parents, you know, and it just goes on and it branches out into this big network of just positivity. And, you know, I feel like I really like this idea of positive actions have ripple effects that you might not even realize, you know, and ripple effects through time that you might not even realize.
That's it right there, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, like that in a nutshell, it gave me chills when you explained that. And the reason is because that was something that I learned a long time ago in my life, right? I told you my background with, being educators and church people. There were things that my mom would say to me that was taught and told to her by her elders or people that came before her, and things that are like family traditions or different things that we do. Like we have a family prayer that we do. Like every time we leave, we all say this prayer. And so just like things like that, that's passed down, that's spread, like you said, like you can think about, oh yeah, it's gonna be cool to leave a legacy, to do some neat things, but really, like man, like how you explained it, like when you have a family, there's some things that you've seen in me that you're gonna share with your family.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's so like, whoa, like when
Yeah,
you really
yeah.
just think about those things, like it blows you away, but then it also makes you happy and proud of yourself because like, if I didn't work hard to do the things that I would have to achieve, I wouldn't have been blessed to be in a situation to be around you guys, right? And so I'm truly grateful for all of that and how all of that happens, and it's a beautiful thing to watch that all like play out, you know.
So what advice would you give to 20-year-old Chip Baker?
Oh man, advice I would give to 20-year-old Chip Baker would be, just keep doing your thing, dog. You're gonna be all right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I say that because, man, I don't know what it is, but I think the big man kind of blessed me with some sense. Like mom used to say, boy, act like you got some sense. Disciplinary mom. Like, boy, get somewhere and act like you got some sense. That's an old school thing, right? But I'm grateful that the big man has given me a sense of awareness. I'm grateful that discipline was instilled in me as a young guy, because I think that discipline allows you the freedom to be happy. Let me give him that one again, Bob. Let me give him that one again.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I wholeheartedly believe that discipline allows you the freedom to be happy. And what I mean by that is when you learn to have that self-discipline and do things the right way, regardless of who's watching, and you take care of business, man, it allows you to be in positions to where you receive the fruits of that labor, exactly like you had talked about, like working, earning a check, and I can get Christmas presents and buy groceries for the family. Like, bro, you had to be disciplined to show up to work every day. You had to be disciplined to do what you were asked to do for a long period of time, right? You had to be disciplined to work your tail off, and I've seen you do that for a long period of time to earn the things that you've earned so that you can take care of the people that you love,
Yeah.
right? And so it allows you to have that freedom, which makes you happy, which makes you fulfilled. And so I would just say, man, I've done those things my entire life, but I would just remind myself that you're on the right path. You're okay. You're gonna be all right. So that's what I was saying.
Yeah, discipline to me creates opportunities.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, it creates, like you said, like freedom. Like when you're doing the right things every day, there's just something about it to where things ease up, and you just have this nice peace of mind. And
Yeah. It seems easy, but really it looks easy from the outside. But really, like, the work you put in, like, the hard work.
Oh yeah.
But you're proud of that too, and grateful for that because you prove to yourself that your hard work is beneficial. And I even like to say this, opportunities bring opportunities. And what I mean by that is, just like you said, with the discipline creates opportunities. Man, like every opportunity that I've had in my life, I can't tell you that it's been because I've been the best choice. Every opportunity that I've had in my life has been because somebody else thought highly of me and gave me an opportunity to do something, right? And I'm gonna share this story. You mind if I share a story with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
So growing up, this is my favorite story to share, man. Growing up, I was surrounded in my community by some really good people to emulate, to watch, to see what it's supposed to be like to help leave a legacy in me. And my little league baseball coach, who was also he's my elementary principal, my elementary school principal. He was also my little league baseball coach. Great man. Grew up in our town, former coach. I mean, amazing. Ended up being the superintendent there eventually in my hometown. But great guy that I wanted to grow up and be like, right? And so, like I told you, I had those core common principles: work hard, do right, treat people right, do things the right way. And what I didn't know is that people saw those things. Like people saw those things that I was doing. Like for me, I was just in my zone, just doing what I was told and made to do. Like I said, work hard, do right, treat people right, put myself around good people, take care of my business, right? So fast forward, I'm a broke college kid, graduating, college football, and I apply for a teaching and coaching job in Conroe School District, right? And I had never been in the area. I'm from Hearn, Texas, over by Bryan College Station, small area. And the principal at Peak Junior High in Conroe ISD, I didn't know that he knew Mr. McDaniel, the guy from my hometown. This is where it gets good right here, right? So he calls him, reference. He's like, hey, I got this Chip Baker kid applying for a job here in my school. Tell me a little bit about him. And so that guy tells him, oh, man, he's a great guy. Like, man, he's going to work hard. He's going to do things the right way. He's going to put himself around some good people. He'd be an asset to your team. You should give him an opportunity. And that principal gave me my very first teaching and coaching job because of what Mr. McDaniel said about me, of what I did. Hold on. I got my very first teaching and coaching job off of the person that I was as a kid. Right? And I say that because, like we talked about, man, opportunities bring opportunities. Like when we're in the moment and we're doing what we're supposed to do, like those great things are going to organically come to you because you're doing what you're supposed to do. And people want those kind of people on their teams.
Yeah.
Like they hire those kind of people in business and jobs and all that kind of stuff. You will get bigger opportunities because you are on point and doing what you're supposed to do in those moments. And so, man, I love sharing that story because Like, man, I can for sure say that there was more qualified people that applied for that job because it was my first job. I had no experience. Right? I can for sure say that. Like, I can probably for sure say there was probably a whole lot of people out there that was better than me too at the time, right? Now, I've worked a little bit, but I've got a little better. I'm okay now after 24 years. But man, like I got an opportunity because of what I did as a kid and what somebody else thought of me.
Yeah. Yeah, that goes back to kind of what I was saying earlier, where positive actions create ripple effects through time that you can't even predict, right?
Yes, yes.
It's just do the positive action now because you don't know the doors that it'll open for you later.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, something I wanted to ask you before you went on about that amazing story is what is your definition of discipline? You know, if you had a student come up to you and you're talking about discipline and like, Coach Baker, like I really like what you're saying about discipline, but what does that mean? You know, how can I be disciplined? What would you say to them?
I think you got to win, strive to win. And I'm an acronym guy, so I'll break that down. I'm sure you've heard that. What's important now, right? And so, like, what's important right now, right? What's important right now is getting your butt in the weight room and get these reps,
Yeah.
right? Get through this workout today, right now, right? And then once you do that, then now I got to move to the next thing. What's important now? Okay, I got this homework I got to do that's due. I got to make sure I take care of that this evening, right? Then the next thing, okay, what's important now? Okay, then tomorrow in these classes I'm reflecting, right? What did I do good on today? What do I need to be better on? You know, then tomorrow, what's important now? I hit the ground running, right? And work on those things I need to be better on. Do more of the things that I did well on, but work on the things I need to be better. And I think when you can continue to do that process to win, focus in what's important now, it allows you to be super focused, right? And it's a guy in this room that I saw do that, right? And like as a young guy, I watched him do that, go from being a small guy to a huge guy and get a big opportunity to do some big things, right? And I watched that guy do that, but then I also knew that in my life it was the same way. So I was thinking, oh yeah, he gonna be all right. You know, like, oh yeah, he got it, right? And it's all about focusing in on what's important right now.
Yeah.
And when you allow yourself to do that, man, just like we talked about, it's crazy how those amazing opportunities come to you, but they come to you because you've done the dang work. You've been focused and you've done the dang work. And so, you know, as a young guy, I would say, hey, just focus in on what's important right now in the moment.
Yep.
Like, of course, set your short term, set your long term goals, set your BHAG goals, big, hairy, audacious goals, set all of that stuff. But really, what's important is what step are you taking right now to help you be the best version of yourself, right? And then once you take that step, you get through that step, well, okay, well, let's get to the next one,
Yeah.
right? And then before you know it, man, you'll be able to look back and you've gone somewhere. And then you can look back and be super proud of the things that you've accomplished.
Yeah, it's gonna sound contrasting to what you're saying, but on the surface, but it's not. I really like this quote by I don't actually know if Abe Lincoln said this, but I saw it on like some kind of social media post somewhere. But basically, he was saying that discipline is choosing what you want most
Yeah.
over what you want now.
Oh,
And it's what you like. And I know you're just talking about what can I do right now. It's what do I want now versus what do I need to do right now, right? It's like maybe I want to do something else, but I need to do this assignment. Because if I don't, then I'm going to be hurting for it later. But if I do it now, then I'm going to, set up opportunities for myself. I'm going to open doors,
I love that. And I love that. I love it because it is like, I think most is a more sense of urgency than now. You know, like there could be a couple things that I can do right now, but what's most is what is my next direct thing that I'm going to do.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like choosing that, making incremental steps in that big audacious goal instead of kind of meandering along the path and kind of going wherever you want. You know, it's like
I love it.
I got this big goal, but I got to do these things to get there. And if I kind of mosey around and I don't go in a straight line, then, you know, I might get lost. I might not get there.
That's like kind of like a GPS,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like you have to put in where you want to go on your GPS, and you know, if you're focused in, you get to where you want to be. And sometimes, you know, life throws some detours at you, right? And so you have to learn to adjust and reflect, have the awareness to get back on course, if you will, and then continue to do your thing because it's important for you to get to wherever that is you're striving to get to.
Yeah. When life throws you detours, you know, how do you get back on track? Are there things that you do to try to get back on track to what you were like kind of originally striving for?
I think when life gives you lemons, you have to make lemonade, right? And so in every situation that we're in, I think it's important to make sure that we find the good in it and focus on the positives. You know, learn from the tough stuff, right? Learn from the lessons, right? Me personally, you know, I just reflect on the situation. You know, what have I done to put myself in this situation? Right? I had to look at myself first, right? Self, you tripping, right? Right. And then I think, you know, once I reflect and look at those things, then now I can say, hey, you know, this was good. Proud of that. Continue to do that. Or I can say, ooh, Chip, you blew that. Like, man, you need to be better on that. And so it gives me something that I can work on. That's the beauty of life, man. That's the beauty of the journey is, like, if I want something to be better in my life and what I'm doing, guess who can fix that?
You?
Me.
Yes, sir.
Right. And so like man, we have ownership in our when we have ownership in our journey, in our destiny, man, it allows us to put us in the driver's seat of that GPS. Put the GPS in there and hey, let's go riding. Right? And it's a great journey when you do that because it's always room for growth. It's always room to learn things. Like we talked about on those detours. I mean, sometimes you like the detour may give you an opportunity to see some things you never seen before. Like man, I didn't know those things were in life. Like I'd never seen that before. That's pretty cool, right? Okay, now get back on track, you know, and make sure I get to where I'm going. And so, man, I just think the awareness and the reflection piece is so huge on that.
I want to go back to that question I asked about giving advice to 20-year-old
Yeah,
Coach Baker.
come on.
What advice would you give to 30-year-old Coach Baker? You know, fast forwarding 10 years.
Man, let me go back to 20. Like if we're looking at it by years, like 10-year increments, 20 would be keep doing your thing, enjoy yourself, experience some things. 30-year-old would be, okay, based off of the foundation that you have, just continue to grow and do things that helps others. And still, I would say, man, you're doing the right thing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Just reassurance.
Yeah, just
you know?
reassuring myself. No, you all right. Just keep doing what you're doing.
You know, do you find yourself kind of dipping it like you're almost losing a little bit of motivation to do, you know, these good things and to promote growth and things like that? Do you find yourself ever kind of maybe losing a little bit of steam and then you kind of get back up, you know, through time, or is it kind of just floating at a baseline?
No, but you know, as I hear you say it, I think it reminds me of the importance of rest. Right? You know, like you know, there was a phase where people like just grind, just go, like just grind, I do this all day. Like, no, not all day. You know, like, bro, you got to rest so your body can recover, right? And so I think you have to work to find that balance of, okay, go hard, but then get rest.
Yeah.
And so those are things I would say no, because I've really worked hard at having balance in my life. And the reason is, like, it's important for me to get rest. I know that if I'm not the best version of myself, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, then people around me suffer, the people that I love and care about. And so I've really strived to just take one step at a time.
Yeah.
Like not eat the whole pie, but just get a piece.
Something I think you might have said it too. I remember Coach Ramirez said it a lot, and I still think about it pretty often. Is he would always ask us, "How do you eat an elephant?"
Yep.
One bite at a time.
Yes, sir.
What are the things that you do to stay balanced? You know, like what are the actual actions that
And
you take?
I'm a big reflective guy. Like I make time to reflect, right? And I think that it gives me an awareness of what I need to work on, as well as it gives me an awareness of the things that I've done well, right? And so, on top of that, prioritizing and organizing my time. And so I have this deal that I call it the balance pie, right? And so if you visualize with me like a pie chart, you know, like the pie chart is 100%, right? So there's 10 things in that pie chart that I have that are important to me, and I don't do anything else outside of that in my life. And so everything I do is intentional, highly focused. And so my focus is on that, faith, family, being the glue, personal growth, all of the relationships, all of those are just some of them. But like I intentionally work on those like daily, right? And so, if I'm, not 100% on one today, then I got to pick that up tomorrow and be better. And so that's one of the things that I incorporated in my life, and it's really worked for me because it's allowed me to be like hyper focused on what's important to me. Seeing as like how we talked about at the beginning of this, you asked me about the definition of success, prioritizing what's important to you and working your tail off on that.
Yep.
And then when you do that, it'll be successful to you because it's important to you, right? And so I'm truly proud of the fact that I've been able to do that too, because that requires discipline.
How has your pie chart changed over the years? Have you added certain things as you've kind of gone through life?
Not really. I hadn't really. It's just like the core common principles that I talked to you about. Right, the pie chart is incongruence with that.
Yep.
So those are the things that I believe in, and I'm gonna do those things, rain, sleet, or snow.
Yeah.
Right now, within that, there's some techniques, or like we talked about how technology changes or things changes. There's some things within that I can learn, and that's the fun part, right? I can learn to help me be more efficient in that. But like my faith, I'm gonna work on my faith. I'm gonna work on my faith. I'm gonna work on making sure my family is good. Like I'm gonna do that, right? Now within that, there's some creative ways that I can do. As far as faith, like the typical church service, men's group, reading the Bible, all of those different things. Now, you got, podcasts about faith. Like it's so many different things. So like it's the same, but how I get to it can be different, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about Go Get It. You have it on your shirt right now. What does it mean to go get it?
Man, I perk up a little bit. Let's go, man. I think for me, I believe, well, let me go back. It's part of positive self-talk for me, right? So throughout my life, I've exercised like self-talk. The most important relationship that you're probably gonna have is a relationship you have with yourself, right? And throughout my years, I've had positive self-talk. Depending on the phases of life that I was in, up your game, get better. Just different things that I would say to myself to push myself. And so once I graduated college, like I knew that, man, going into a career striving to get my master's degree, starting a family, like all of those things, like those are big, big things, right? And so, I set my goals on, okay, by this age, I want to have my master's. By this age, I want to, so I kind of set my goals. And in order for me to make those things happen, I had to go get it,
Yes, sir.
right? And so that was really my positive self-talk. I would just say that to myself. And then when I started teaching and coaching, it would slip out and I would say it to my guys, right? So then they would start, sometimes they would say it back to me, right? And then it just, over years, became a thing. And, that's just my thing, man. Just go get it. I believe that no significant success is just going to come to you. I believe that you have to go get it and make it happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And in that striving to go get it, in that striving to do great things, like we talked about already, organically, you're going to achieve some things that you never, ever would have thought you would have been able to achieve. And all of that stuff that we've talked about today is a part of that. The book series, the podcast, the whole life journey, like making a difference. Like, man, I never would have, like as a kid, like imagining, dreaming, like none of that was in the plan. Like I didn't have a clue that any of that could be done, right? But it has been because I've just strived to go get it.
I really love that idea. I can testify from my experience that, getting after it,
Yeah.
whenever I go get it,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that saying. I could say it over and over and over again. But, when I work hard at something, it opens those doors like we were talking about earlier, and you kind of shift the goal, like the goalpost changes. Like as you're moving forward towards the touchdown, like that goalpost is moving backwards. And I find myself like coming up with dreams that I didn't even think I could ever do
Yeah.
a couple years ago. Like it was not part of the plan at all. And all I did was just work hard. And then I found myself in situations that I really shouldn't be in. But,
Yeah.
okay, like this is
Let's
cool.
get it, baby.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the first time, like when I got, like I have a research job at UT, and it was really surreal. Like I just worked hard. I tried to get as good a grades as I could. And when I got in, it was like a table kind of like this. And my boss was talking here. And this was like my first semester of college. And personally, I really don't think I should have been there. But I was sitting here.
I
there
know
was,
that feeling also.
Yeah, there's a PhD here,
Yeah.
PhD
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Like a grad student, like he got a master's, he's about to graduate with a
Yep.
PhD. Like where you're sitting, there's a senior researcher. He's been researching for like 40 years.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I'm sitting there like, okay, I gotta work hard because like I don't feel like I belong here. But the goalposts changed, and I like as I got into that situation, I kind of applied the same mindset that I was learning way back in the day in football. And I was just like, I gotta work hard right now, right here, and then you start to come up with all these little dreams.
Yeah.
Now that you're in your new situation that I couldn't have thought of a couple years back.
Man, first I want to say, man, congrats on that, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
For achieving all the amazing things that you've achieved. I've always seen hard work in you. Right?
Thank you. Appreciate
and so it's always satisfying to see when we can take those things that we learn through sports, through life experiences, and translate those and use us to help us be successful in life, in career,
Oh, yeah.
in family, right? And so it's the same concept. Like as you were saying it, I was thinking about watching you guys squat, like them squat days, right? And just like you have to shift your mindset. Like that's some dang tough stuff, and we demanded that you do it perfect,
Oh yeah.
right? Like we didn't say, hey, let's go to the weight room and squat. No, get your butt under the bar,
Yeah.
get down there low,
Yeah,
do all
yeah.
of those things, right? And so like that's the difference, right? And in life, when you attack the bar
Yeah.
in life like that, like man, anything is possible. Like anything is achievable, and you show yourself that, and I think it brings about a confidence in you too, because you see that, man, you learn that, man, this room is different. There's some ballers in this room. But hey, guess what? I'm in this room too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like
yeah.
I'm. Oh wait, I might not be the top baller, but I'm in this room too. And so just like in college, and this was self-talk for me in college. You either like the choices was up your game. The choices was up your game,
Thank you.
or the choices was up your game or go home. And going home ain't a choice, right? And so I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna up my game.
Yes, sir.
And so that's the approach. When you learn that mindset, that's what you do.
Yeah, I like playing sports was so big for me, and just kind of like I still like whenever I hear someone say Big Five, it just sets off a alarm bell. I'm like, what did you say? What did you say? I was just talking about this with Miles yesterday, but it was like, man, it was just so influential. Like it really teaches you that like you just like with enough hard work, and if you really just attack the day, something that's really difficult it was so hard at first, and especially like you're already doing squats, and then someone half reps, and you just hear squat jump position, whistle blows. You're just like, oh my gosh, dude. It teaches you that something that's really hard at first can get easier.
Yeah.
And it can get easier with enough work, and if you just attack the day every day for a while.
Just keep showing up.
Yeah.
Do what you can do right now. Do the best that you can do right now.
Talk to me about your belief. I mean, you mentioned this in the impact of influence, that we're the sum of our environment, relationships, experiences, and actions. I mean, we could go through each one.
Oh man.
Let's start with environment,
Man, that's good. First I want to say thank you for doing the research on that and checking that out.
Of course.
Because that is my life experiences. And so I'm a simple guy, I'm a formula guy, and I think the sum total of who we are is our E plus R plus A, right? And that's what I share in the book there. But I think the first thing is environment, right? So environment is, what you've been around. What are the things that are around you that you can learn from? What have you learned from being in those environments, right? So for me, my environments, born in Dallas, Texas, parents separated, moved to a small town, Hearn. So now just off of that, I've seen both worlds, small city world, fast life city world, right? I've seen some different things. So those are some just growing up environments, then my college environment, then my environment in my career. So there's so many things that I've learned from that environment piece that I can take and hold on as lessons.
Yeah.
Right? Then it goes to the experiences. And so within those environments, there's some experiences, man, that there's some things that I've seen I still don't talk about today because they were tough in the family or, tough, just things that I learned from that I said, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be better for our family, right? And so some of bad as well as good experiences. I've seen, my grandmother achieving some really neat things, or my mom creating these so I've seen some good things too, right? So those are some of the experiences. And then you go to the relationships, and I'll share this quote with you, quote guy. I heard this from one of my former pastors, and it's even in the book too. Life moves at the speed of our relationships. And you think about that, those people that are doing great things, they have great relationships in their life. Those people that need to be doing better, they probably need better relationships in their lives. And so you have to learn from those relationships. You have to pour into those relationships, make deposits so that when you need them, you can make withdrawals, right? and be grateful for those relationships. And then the last thing is actions. The A is actions.
Yeah.
You know, what are the actions that I've taken that have moved me forward? What are the actions that I've taken that have held me back?
Yeah.
You know, that I've had to learn from. And so I think that when you combine all of those things, your E plus R plus A, it makes you the sum total of who you are. Now, the great part in this is that helps you with the reflection piece. Okay, so now how are you going to take those things that you learned and use those to be a blessing to others, right? And so I can tell you, like, I'll share this with you. So, like, as a coach, as a teacher, as a person that strives to be a positive difference maker in the lives of others, I knew what it felt like to have pain as a young kid, grow up in a single parent home, right? So guys that I've taught and coached, like I can see that on them because I know what it's like, right? And so I can relate to that. Like, bro, you don't care about math? Like, you just like, did I eat today? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you good? Okay, you good. Well, then we're good. We can move on. You know, like those things. And so, like, I know what it feels like for people to look out for me and say, hey, have you eaten? Like, you good? Like, you know, I know what that feels like to receive that. And so I was able to give that because of my E plus R plus A, I was able to give that and be a blessing in my career.
Yeah.
And so that's the sum total of who we are. And that's what that's about.
You know, for someone that is maybe not in a great environment or they haven't had the best experiences, you know, how can they use the other half of that, you know, their relationships and their actions to kind of put them in a better place? Because a lot of environment and a lot of experiences is out of our control.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that the beauty of that is even though there's some things you can't control, you can still find the good in every situation, right? And the good can be like, man, this is so bad that I know for sure I'm not doing this. You know, that's the good. The good thing about a bad relationship is that it shows you what you don't want, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, man.
Amen, yeah.
You're like, oh, you crazy. I ain't doing that. Like, man, girl, please. Like, oh, man, no. I mean, I'm just being, you know, just like, girl, no. You know, just like it teaches you like what you don't want. And so like there's always opportunity to, even in the worst situation, is really, I think you just have to focus on and find the good. And when you can find the good, just like we talked about, just taking those little steps at a time to stack the successes.
Yep.
Right? And then when you take the little steps to stack the successes, you gain momentum. And as you gain momentum, you learn that, like, oh, yeah, what I'm doing is okay. Like, it reassures you, yeah, I'm glad that, like, I was able to say, yeah, I'm not doing that. You know, I'm glad to say, yeah, I don't want to be, nah, I'm okay. You know?
Yeah, that's perfectly in line with my kind of idea of, you know, confidence and the willingness to be able to go out and do things. Like confidence to me is momentum, and you build it over time with. I mean, you could start with little actions. You know, you make your bed every morning.
I love that.
You're gonna feel confident. You know, like you're not gonna like automatically feel confident. You make your bed every morning, but you're gonna feel more confident than if you didn't, right? And if you keep stacking those little positive actions, then the big things become way easier. Like if you're able to be consistent with yourself, and it kind of goes back to what you're talking about, the most important relationship in your life is with yourself, right? If you're able to hold yourself accountable and be able to trust yourself and be consistent, and you know, when you say you're going to go do something, you know, you actually believe that you're going to do it. Like if someone told you, I'm going to make my bed tomorrow and I'm going to brush my teeth and I'm going to do all this. I'm going to study for 3 hours and be on my schedule, and then they don't do it, you're going to lose a little trust in them.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with yourself, you know, like if you tell yourself you're going to do all that and you don't do it, you're going to lose a little trust in you. You're going to lose a little momentum. You're going to lose a little bit of confidence. But if you do it that day, you build the momentum, and then it's harder to slow you down. Then if you have a bad day, you're still barreling forward because you have the momentum that you gained.
Man, it's so many things. I love that how you say there's so many things that come up for me as I heard you talk about that process. I think the first thing is you don't have to prove anything to anybody else. You just got to prove it to yourself,
Yeah.
right? And then once you prove to yourself that you can do those things, it does build that momentum. You know, now you show that I can show up again tomorrow and kill it, right? And then from there, I think also just kind of reflecting on what you hit on, man, it's crazy how I don't know, just so many great things come when you do that. It allows you to eliminate the clutter, right? And when I say clutter, like the noise, I'll tell you this. So in y'all's prime, they made these headphones that they you put on you. They're kind of big. You put them on your ear, right? And then you put on your ear, like you hear nothing else but that quality sound, noise cancellation, right? And so when you allow yourself to be disciplined and focused in on what you do, you organically have noise cancellation in your life, and you're super focused, and all of that other stuff don't matter.
Yep.
Like I'm a music guy. Like I love listening to quality music, like listening to the background of this, to that, because you know my background, my family's music, so like I can hear like the ad libs and all the different things in the quality music, and it's a beautiful experience when you allow yourself to do that, right? And it makes you proud. So I was thinking about you talk about just making the bed. Like you may not want to do that and brush your teeth or whatever, but then when you come back at the end of the day after your busy day, you come in that room, you see your bed's made, like that's you're proud of that. Like man, that looks good,
Yep.
right? And it's a simple thing, but I think it starts you in the process of eliminating the clutter.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's exactly like I remember my mom was kind of she was having a bit of a low point, and I just told her like just stack wins.
Yeah,
Like it
man.
doesn't have to be big, just like
Yep.
do like if you know she was out of work and she was going through a tough time, is like just do one job, like job application today.
Yeah.
Make your bed, go for a walk. Because if you do these little things, then you just feel better, and then
Yeah.
you, like you said, like you gain the momentum, and
Yep.
you just like the more positive actions you take, it's like contagious. Like you just bring more positivity into the world, and then you bring it,
And
it reflects
infectious.
back. Yeah,
And
exactly.
you spread that too.
Yeah.
Like it's infectious.
Can you explain to me why consistency is so important? And because you talk about, discipline creates good habits create discipline.
Yep.
Discipline creates consistency. Consistency builds trust. I
Wow,
think,
you on it, man.
you know.
You did your research. I loved it, man.
Thank you,
Let's
thank
go.
you. If someone asked you, a football player or anyone,
yeah.
just like, how do I create consistency?
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
Just keep showing up. Really, just like what you just said, just stack the wins.
Yeah.
Show up today, win today, win the moment today. I think when you can do that, you stack those things, and it's a process. It starts with those habits. Habits build the momentum to give you the trust. All right, the consistency, and then the consistency builds trust. And so what happens is, people around you trust that you are dependable, right? But what's more important is that you show yourself that you can do great things, and you trust yourself to do those things. Just kind of like you talked about the scenario with your mom. I mean, just do something right now where you show yourself, oh, I can.
Yeah.
When you show yourself that you can, that gives you footing, if you will, a firm foundation to build on, to stack those wins. And when you said the word stack, like to me, stack just sounds strong. Like when you stack something, like it just sounds strong.
Building a house, brick by
firm
brick.
foundation, man. You got to start with the foundation and then build, right? And when you stack those things, you become strong.
I want to talk about your podcast a little bit.
Yeah.
And just, you said earlier 8 years now. You're 8 years deep.
Man, 8 years.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's
you know.
crazy. Talking about stacking.
So being 8 years deep, having 351 episodes.
Yep.
What are some of the best insights that you've got from that? Like what are some of the greatest ideas you've had from interviewing that many people?
Oh man, I've learned so much. Man, just amazing. You being a quote guy, just so many quotes from different people. I think the beauty of, because I'm a relationship guy, the beauty of meeting great people and building and establishing those relationships, that's been cool for me. But I think the underlying factor, because it's the Success Chronicles, I think the underlying factor is, and it's funny because like I have the Success Chronicles, and you sent me the question. Like the first question you asked me is, "What's your definition of success?" And like I'm thinking to myself, man, that's difficult, right? But I ask that same question every episode, right? And it's difficult because there's so much that goes into it. But I think the underlying factor is, none of us are immune. I don't care who you are. None of us are immune from growing through tough things.
Yeah.
Catch that? None of us are immune from growing through tough things. And so what we have to do is, learn the things, grow through you go through, and on the other side of that, learn what you're supposed to learn so that you can overcome that to get to where you want to be.
Grow through your go through. I really like that.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you, when I look at some of my friends and some of the people that I see see them going through tough situations, or me myself will go through tough situations, and sometimes I see that they grow from it, or I grow from it. Sometimes it's just tough, and sometimes they're hurting for a while because of it, or maybe they didn't go through it at all and they're in a worse place. So can you talk to me a little bit about, like, is there a certain mindset that you need as you're kind of growing through your go through in order to be able to do that? What kind of attitude do you need to bring in order to actually grow from something hard and not just have it be adversity that doesn't get you anywhere?
I'm glad you asked that question. I don't want to go too deep. I got a family member that this last year has been going through some pretty tough things, right? And there's two questions that I pose to that family member, either daily or every couple of days. What are you grateful for? What did you learn today? Right? And so if we can have the mindset of being able to kind of pause and realize that, like, man, this is tough. I'm not able to do this. This happened to me, but I'm still here. I'm grateful for that. I'm living. It's a whole lot of people that's not living, right? I may not be able to eat steak, but I have a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? I'm eating. There's a whole lot of people that's not eating.
Yeah.
Right? My house may not be as big as I want it to be, but I have a house. I have shelter.
Yeah.
Right? It's a whole lot of people that don't have that. So I think the first thing is you have to focus in on, first consider, like, what are you grateful for of what you do have. That allows you to get your butt in line and know that it could be worse. Yeah. And then the second thing is, man, what did I learn from this tough situation? Yeah. Right? From this thing that just happened to me, which may be out of my control. Like we talked about, like I may not have any control over any of this that's going on, but the things that I do have control over, like what did I learn from that? Well, the first is, don't put yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
Like today, like get yourself from around them crazy people. Like don't do drugs. Just different things. Like, what did I learn from that? And so I think when you can understand what you're grateful for, figure out what you've learned, And then I just keep going back to the stacking. Then the next day, put that into place. Put that into play. I'm grateful for this today. I learned this yesterday. I'm not going to do that today. And it really is that simple.
Yeah, I really like that idea of just being grateful for what you have. An idea that's really helped me go through some of the stuff that I've gone through in the recent years is that out there is someone who's going through what you're going through, but worse. They have it worse, and they're doing better.
Come on.
And it's like I want to be careful because I don't want to say that in any way that like demeans someone or kind of like makes it seem like your problems aren't that big a deal.
No.
It's more of kind of like there's someone out there that's going through exactly what you're going through, or they've been through it in the past and they got through it and they're doing good. And it's empowering to think like, man, like what I'm going through, like there's people going through a lot worse.
Man.
And they're doing all right and they had their own success stories.
It allows you to be so grateful.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm not just saying those things, man. Those are things that I've had to do growing up as well. There's some tough things that we went through in my family or things that I've seen. And I really had to say, okay, like, what am I grateful for? Yeah. Like, okay, I learned this lesson. I saw this. Ooh, I can make it better, right? And so that's not putting people down. It's not a derogatory thing. That's just helping with awareness to help you be grateful for what you do have, to shift your perspective, because how you view what you do determines how you do what you do.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you're focused in on just continuing to strive to get better and be positive and find the good, well, you'll continue to be better and be positive and find the good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I read a book recently called Call Me American, and it's about a Somali guy who grew up during all the wars. And as I was reading it, it was like I was going through a pretty fresh breakup. And so I was pretty down about it. And I remember reading that book, and I was just thinking, like, what if I just, like, told this guy about what I was going through? Like, what would he say? He would be like, you were able to have a girlfriend? Like, I grew up in a war zone, dude. Like,
right.
I had to dig a hole and sleep in it so I wouldn't get hit by shells at night. Like, and it you would think it makes me feel like, okay, why am I getting so down about this, like, thing if it's pretty small and there's people going through such hard things? But it's more like I should be grateful for even being able to have experiences like that,
man.
Because some people,
sir.
they can't even live their life, They're just like, they're just a victim of horrible, horrible circumstances that they can't control. So, even if I'm going through something tough, just being grateful for, like, I have control over what I can do, like my external environment isn't, dictating what I do. And it's just like I have a choice right now.
Man, I think that's the biggest thing that helps you get better is understanding what I have control over and what I don't have control over.
Yeah.
I think just that right there, just saying that just put me at peace. Just because you think about like there's some things that's gonna happen, that will happen, that has happened.
Yeah.
Bro, I have no control over. Right? So why should I waste time worrying about something like I have no control over that? Right? Now, if there's something that I do have control over that I can put in the work or say something or do something to make it better, then now that's different, right? And if I can control that and have ownership in that, then now I can put in the work.
Yeah.
I'm able to put in the work to do that.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big philosophy fan, and I like Stoicism a lot. And in Stoicism, they're always talking about, just focusing on what you can control. If something's out of your control, then it's kind of just the natural order of things.
Yeah.
And things are just happening, and if you focus on what you can control, then you're going to be happy. Because, things out of your control are fickle. Like people, you can't control people.
Good word right there, fickle.
Yeah, like it's very up and down, here or there.
Yeah.
You know, you can't really control what someone else does or what they're
yeah.
thinking, what they're saying. You can't control, I don't know, the weather,
Yep.
external events,
Yep.
but you
Yep.
can control, you know, what am I going to do in this situation? What are my actions? And then how am I going to perceive this? Right?
Yeah, fickle just sounds fickle.
Yeah.
Right. Stacked sounds strong. Fickle sounds fickle.
Yeah.
I love it, man. That's good.
So, talk to me a little bit about your core values. You mentioned earlier there was quality relationships, and I think there were a few others.
Yeah. I just so as far as like my core common principles, work hard, do right, treat people right, put myself around good people. I think that those are the core essence of who I am and what I strive to do on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
And then, with the balanced pie, just faith, family, you know, being better in my career, having quality relationships, building those, being the glue in every situation I'm in, holding things together. Just off the top of my head, those are just, 6 or 7 of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Personal growth is on there as well. So I think when I can work on those things, it gives me a focus, a GPS, if you will, to go in the direction that I want to go. Those are the things that I can control.
Yeah. Yeah. What exactly do you mean by being the glue?
What I mean by being the glue, I'm going to give you a personal example that you can understand. So I know that as a coach, in anything you do, you want to provide excitement and motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And so in every situation, I strive to figure out, okay, what's needed. Like I'm observant of, okay, what do we need here in this situation,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it was important for me to stand at the door every day and give you guys 5 as you go in the weight room
Oh, yeah.
every day,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that was being the glue because I knew that like you were going into some tough stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean like just challenging tough stuff. But how we attack that tough stuff determines the outcome of what you're gonna get for that tough stuff. So if I can be there to provide some encouragement as you're going into that and some motivation to help you be excited about attacking it, then that's being the glue. Right? And that's a real situation right there.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why I brought that one up. I just think that in any situation, if you can have the awareness to strive to be the glue, just that in itself helps you make things better
Yeah.
and puts the focus not on you. Like it's not about like that wasn't about me. Like that was about just helping. I just want to help, be of service.
Awesome. Yeah, I really love that. So you mentioned quality relationships. How do you go about building quality relationships? You know, what's your bread and butter with that?
I think the I think quality relationships, the foundation of that is respect, right? From the respect comes proper communication, right? And from proper communication is effort and intentions,
Yeah.
right? And so when I say respect, what I mean is like if we're in a relationship together, like I need to show every moment of every day that I respect you, and respect your thoughts and opinions. This is any type of relationship, right? And then from there, because I respect you and what you're about and who you are, I have to communicate properly to you, right? And I think that me communicating properly to you shows the respect. I'm on the way. ETA is this. I've arrived. I'm at the door, right? That's the communication that you and I had this morning.
Oh yeah.
right? And I communicated that with you because I respect what you're doing and I respect your time. You didn't have to choose to have me on your podcast, but you did,
Yeah.
right? And I'm grateful for that. So my respect to you is, hey, I want to make sure that I'm prepared. I want to make sure that I give you everything I can give you, right? Proper communication,
Yeah.
which shows you my effort, right? And when I've given you my effort, that shows you that's important to me. Right? I'm not just here like just giving you fluff, like just going through the motions. I'm giving you my A game, right? That's the effort piece. And then from there, it shows you that my intentions are pure hearted.
Yeah.
It shows you that my intentions are for good. I have no ill will. And I think when you can do those four things: respect, communicate, have great effort, have good-hearted intentions, I think, man, that's how you have quality relationships.
Yeah.
And really, that's about service. That's about giving. And I believe that when you strive to give, you'll receive way more than what you strive to give, right? Like when you're striving to give in a manner of like, oh, I'm gonna give this so that I can get this. Like, no, not like that. What I mean is, like, bro, I just want to be of service and give, right? And I think that when you do that without trying to control all or whatever, like, man, it's gonna come back to you tenfold. And my life has been that way, you know. In striving to give, I've had so many quality relationships. I had so many people look out for me, and give me opportunities because of those things that I talked to you about that I've strived to give them.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, and people can see that. Like they can read through BS all day. Like I mean, he just doing this because he's trying to get like. Nah, I just want to serve and give and be a great dude. That's it.
I love that. I love that. Like kind of not having internal motivations or kind of selfish desires about, getting something in return from what you're doing. If you're going to do something nice, just do it.
Just do something nice.
Yeah, because you're going to get the reward. Like we were saying earlier, when, you're buying gifts for your you work hard, you get a gift for your family. That feeling that you have inside is more valuable than really anything they could do for you, I feel like, because you have like this internal peace of mind.
Yeah, your gift is a gift.
Yeah,
Your presence is the present.
I like that. Your present is the present.
Yeah, like just being present in the moment, your presence. Like that's the present, man. Give that to people.
Yeah. How do you go about organizing your time? Like say
Yeah.
you got a podcast to do
Yeah.
on Wednesday, and then you have a deadline for a new book you're writing coming up, and you got to delegate your time because you also got to teach, and then you got to coach and do all these things. What are you doing?
Man, that's good. That's a good question because I think that's the key to us moving efficiently and effectively is first off prioritizing, but then organizing. So prioritizing and organizing are critical to moving efficiently and effectively. And so I think it's important to make sure that we first off prioritize what's important to us. And we've kind of talked about that core common values, the balanced pie. Those are the things that we talked about as far as being on point with that. But then I think the next phase is, have systems in place.
Yeah.
It's important to have systems in place that work for you. So like for me, I'll just tell you the system that I have in place is like I make time for reflection.
Yeah.
So like in the evening, I reflect every evening, okay, how was my day today? Did this, did that, what can I be better on? What did I do well? Then I plan my day, and like I legit have like big sticky note, or notepad or whatever to-do list for tomorrow, right? So then I legit write that down. I even break it down on the deal. So I do a work list, I do a personal list, right? So on work, okay, these are the things I need to work on tomorrow. Personal, these are the things that I need to work on tomorrow based off of my balanced pie, right? And then from there, I hit the ground running the next day, and it allows me to check those things off or, write a line through them, and I know they're going to do when it's done. I throw it away. I start the next day.
Yeah.
right? So that's a immediate organization thing. But then the next phase is highly reliable on my calendar,
Yeah.
right? If I don't put stuff on my calendar, it's good as not being done. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like my day-to-day stuff, I use checklists to organize.
Yep.
If I know it's far out and it's coming along, then it goes on my calendar on my phone. And along with making that list and checking it twice, so I can find out who's naughty or nice. Oh wait, wait a minute. But no, on
Little
top
holiday quote for
yeah,
you
yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
On top of the, that's how you do the sound effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, on top.
We'll add it into the audio.
Okay,
Boom.
okay, all right. Now, on top of doing like the list thing, I check the calendar daily with that. So I know, so I see what's coming up. So that allows me to, like, if I know I have something coming up in a week and I need to start preparing, I can put that on my list to prepare. And I think that those are just things that that I do that allows me to be more efficiently. And so, like in my life, having those conversations also with those people that I'm doing life with, right? You know, okay, what do we have this week?
Yep.
You know, what are we planning like this? You know, so that all of that goes into account too. So that's what I do to help me.
And are you using that to manage your time and also to remember things?
Oh yes, definitely remember. Like as a young guy, I could remember a lot of things. Right. As an older guy, you get more hats, more responsibilities, more
Yeah.
things you have to do, and there's no way I'm gonna remember all of that.
Yep.
And I think that that's one thing as a young guy that I wish I would have done earlier is write stuff down, you know, keep a track of some of those things, which will, I mean, and I was pretty good. I was decent, but it would have allowed me to be a lot better, I think. Right? If I'd have done that earlier, like I didn't really learn that till I kind of got into my career because it was so much coming at me.
Yeah.
Right? Like I could manage it in college, you know, ball, assignments, you know, I ain't had no bills, you know, all of that kind of stuff. But then like as you know, get a family, career, you know, bills, like all of those other things, like it's no way I'm gonna remember all of that stuff. Like no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Right? And so I had to have some systems in place to help me move efficiently and effectively. And that is what helped me.
Yeah, I feel good about what I'm doing it because I got this journal from Target a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because of that same reason. Like I was doing so much and I couldn't remember things, and I was missing flights. Like
Oh,
it was
yeah.
getting
Yeah.
pretty bad. I told Miles about this the other day, but I like whenever I get an idea or whenever I like know like okay I'm probably gonna forget this, I just write it down. I'll just
Yep.
look back at it later.
Yeah, but I've gone on the process too, man. I used to like when I would get thoughts, so I just write it down on whatever. And at the house, I'd have a pile of stuff, napkins, and sticky notes, everything on the counter until I consolidate. But then, man, thank God for phones. So now I do like all that stuff, calendar, notes in my phone. So now I even do this now, like ideas I have with like speeches and different things, concepts. I'll just put that stuff down in my notes and it's organized.
Yep.
So I know I can always go back to it. And that's been like technology. That's the beauty of the technology
Oh,
piece,
yeah.
like we talked about too, like going from, you know, napkin to note, if you will. Napkin from really paper napkin writing ideas down in a restaurant or something. So actually, okay, well I can just put this in my notes and I can always revisit it. And you know, now it's on my phone, it's on my iPad, it's on my MacBook, it's wherever I'm at, I got it. And I think, man, that's the beauty of growing in technology.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was using the iCloud notes for a while, and I really like how you can pull it up on your computer.
Right, yeah,
You
that's
can
what I
pull it
was-
up
yep.
on your phone. You know, I'll write something in the moment on my phone, and then look back on it on the computer later while I'm working.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was saying, man. Like I do like all of my books and stuff when I write. I'll share this secret with you about you getting the inside juice right here, man.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Like all of my books and stuff that I wrote, and I've pretty much done that on my phone in my notes. And of course, you know, you got to go back and edit and do all that stuff. But like the brain dumping, the ideas, putting the concepts together, like I've done that as it's come to me, as I've lived life, observed things. Like for example, like I'm sitting here looking at the setup and like the amazing beauty of. So I had some ideas I'm gonna put in there on like you know, how life is beautiful and opportunities and like just different things. as they come to you, you can get it down and keep those things.
Yeah, yeah. When you're writing, are you kind of brain dumping when you come up with an idea? You're like, okay, I got to write this down right now on my phone, and then you kind of look back and revise it later. Is that your writing process?
Yeah. So I'm a big on. I don't think we can write about or speak, me personally. I don't think I can write about or speak about something I haven't experienced. Right. I think that just me personally, I'm just I feel better when I know that it's organic and genuine.
Yeah.
Right. It flows better for me. That's just my personal. So what that does is that allows me to be aware of life things. Right. So as I'm going about, like I'll see different things and I notice, okay, man, this is good. Right. I learned this from this. Put this down. Right. And so now that's my library, if you will. Like I can always go and reference that stuff as I experience it. But with my writing, yes, I go back to what I have, but then also I brain dump. So if I know that I'm right about this, the blue car that ran into the ditch, right? So then now as I experience life, I'm brain dumping, different things about the car is this kind of car, it's a blue car, the paint was this kind of paint, the traffic sign, like it wasn't a stop sign there, so he didn't know to stop. He just ran into. So like all of those different ideas, I dump that stuff first, and then I'll go back and piece it together and make it flow.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of my process.
Gotcha. You're trying to like
Paint a picture.
paint a picture. I really like that. Yeah, like remember everything as well as you can and as accurately as you can.
And that's one thing I learned from reading and listening to books, audio books. But I love when you have people that can paint a picture, right? So like it really makes you feel like you're actually there. Like I love like reading a book where like man like I'm just going somewhere like man it's like I'm actually sit right there with them. Like I can see that, And so that's kind of what it is. It's like for me.
How is your journey of a writer? I mean, like as you write, 6 books. Yeah, I mean, at minimum 6. I know you have some more.
Yeah.
What are some of the improvements that you've had to make over time with that, writing process?
Lots of improvements. Just as you were asking them, I actually said this to somebody the other day. I interviewed a guy. And he's a big time artist in Houston, and we were talking about. Shout out to Frankie Cardona. I want to make sure I send him a shout. And great guy. He actually has a mural in the Woodlands area. That Astros mural that's over by HEB. Right over there. So
Okay.
y'all check it out when you get a chance.
For sure.
But he did that one, and that's how it came. Like I saw it one day, and I just connected to him, reached out to him. But we were talking about the process of being a creative and your growth, right? So like people ask me, hey, which book should I read of yours first? Just like man, I've been a part of 16, like written or published, been a part of like 16 books, so it's crazy.
Wow. Congratulations.
So,
yeah.
Thank you. And so like people ask you like, hey, don't get the first one. You're like, hey, get the new one. Like the new one, I'm primed and I'm good, right? Like I want to start listening to your podcast. Which one should I listen to? Don't go back to the first few, right? Like these new ones, they really good. Man. I got angles, I got great audio lighting.
Yes, sir.
For a dark guy. I need some good light, right? You're like, man, I got all of that stuff now, right? So yeah, man, it's just the growth process. I've had to grow a lot in a lot of ways. I think that's the beauty of it. And I think I said this to you when we were sitting up here. The beauty of it is that I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface on things that I can learn. I think that's what makes it fun, right? I think when you can look at it as, okay, what can I learn just to have that continued growth?
Yeah. Yeah, they call that the Dunning-Kruger effect, where you start off and or you start off in a place of confidence and you feel like, it can't be that bad. You start off in your first book and it's like, okay, I can write. Like it's not going to be that bad.
Yeah.
And then the more you learn about it, the more your confidence drops and you're like, okay, there's so much to learn. And then over time you kind of reach this kind of middle point of maturity where you're like, there's still so much to learn, but then you feel confident about the improvements that you've made along the way.
Yeah, I think, man, I've been since I started I started writing about 5.5 years ago, and I've been so busy that I hadn't had the time to had a drop. Like I just, like, man, it's been nuts, man. Like just keep getting better. Like that's all I know. Just keep working. dog.
Nice.
It seems to be working, so just
Yeah,
keep
yeah, yeah,
working, right? And so that's what it's been for me, man.
Talk to me a little bit about public speaking,
Yeah.
and like what are some of the same question I asked earlier with the writing, what are some of the improvements you've had to make, and what are some of the challenges? Because I know public speaking is challenging.
Oh my gosh, man, you getting all the insights today, Bot. So I'll tell you this one too, man. Really, I'm an introverted guy, right? Like, look, if you're hanging out with me, I might not say any more than 10 words. Like, I'm really like and I'm okay with that, right? Like, I'm okay with who I am, and I'm comfortable with that in my skin, right? And so, speaking, like, you really kind of have to be extroverted
Yeah.
to be great at the craft. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or tap into some things which allows you to, come alive, and that's what I do. But man, it's the same. It's the same thing. Like my first stuff that I did. Ooh, don't look at that. Now, like, come check me out.
Sure, yeah.
It's that, and so yeah, man. I don't know. I'll share this. So like, man, I used to like just dump, like you said, write it all out, type it, and all it, word for word. Like I used to do all of that, but then I got to where, I've had to work on my means of. Okay, then I just do bullets,
Yeah.
right? Then I worked on being better at telling stories. So it's always been something that I've improved on, and continue to. I still do that. Like I still like when I speak to this, I want to make sure I practice this, try this out. And so it's like a game to myself, like, what you gonna do now, Chip? Like how you gonna get better now, right? And so I just continue to have that growth, and it makes me proud. Even like today, there's some things, that I wanted to make sure that I hit on, or like different things technology wise that I'm trying to work on. So, and it's just a continued growth to see that. And when I look back on it, although I don't want to look at that stuff, it also makes me proud to see where I've come from.
Yep.
Right, and the work that I put into it literally, I can see literally like the growth. I can literally see the growth, and so man, it's really cool to be able to do that.
Yeah, I can speak from personal experience with like looking back on some of your old public speaking, and just like it's such a hump to get over, like looking at yourself on camera,
Right.
and also like listening to your own voice,
Yeah,
and kind of things like it's like watching film. It's like watching film in football.
Exactly. I was waiting for you to
Yeah.
finish, because I was gonna say that it's just like watching film. Like like early in your career, you're like, I don't want to watch, but then you get to where like, no, I need to check it out.
Yep.
So I can see what I need to be better on, and it's a maturity, like you said.
Yeah.
It has to be. It's a maturity that comes with. I mean, it is what it is. The eye in the sky don't lie, but it's a maturity with. Okay, well, let's check it out. Let's see what I need to be better on, and you can show yourself.
So just so I don't miss what you were saying earlier, if someone were to be like, "Hey, Coach Baker, like, what's your public speaking process?" You were saying, you have your talking points, you write down bullets, and then you kind of go through those talking points. Is that
Yep, that's
okay?
exactly right. So I have a general theme. I'm an acronym guy, so a lot of times I use acronyms to communicate. I'm a simple concept guy, so I may have one concept, have points off of that concept, and then tie it into how it applies. So it's a lot of different ways that you can organize your thoughts and convey your thoughts. And that's one thing I'm continuing to work on. Like I love watching speakers. I love watching the tape of myself so I can be better. I did this. I said this. I moved this way. Man, you got to make sure like I love seeing that stuff, because it allows me to be the best version of myself when I get an opportunity to speak.
Yeah. Are you ever? I mean, I find myself sometimes being when I watch myself just being overly critical of things, and I get kind of like so lost in the negatives that I don't look at the positives, and I'll show my friend a clip of the podcast and like that's good, dude, that's really good, and I was like, I thought it was terrible, I thought it was horrible. Do you have that same experience or?
Nah, man, I'm just too busy to think like that. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
have time to. I don't have time to like overanalyze. Like, let me check it out. What I need to do. Give me 2 or 3 things I need to work on. Now I'm on to the next thing.
Okay.
And I think that that's kind of been my process. It's like watching the tape. Like, bro, we only have this many days to prepare for the next game. The next game's coming. So like, I give myself a day to be in the moment,
Yep.
good or bad. We won. That's great. Okay, I got another opponent to prepare for. We lost. Ooh, what did I get? But okay, a day. Okay, I got another one opponent to prepare for.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of, for me, having a sports background is like it allows me to adjust and move on.
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful lesson too, just like not only in sports but in life. Like on the victories, don't dwell too long on the victories, right? Because the sun doesn't stop. Sun doesn't stop for no man.
No.
That's a good quote by I don't think Kevin Hart came up with the quote, but I saw him say that. Like, and then if it's a loss, don't take too much time to dwell on that either. Just,
Right.
what did I do right? What did I do wrong? All right, move on to the next thing. Keep moving forward.
And I think the beauty too is even in those victories, like there's always room for improvement. I mean, like you can always find ways to learn.
Yeah.
I think it's about having the growth mindset.
Yeah. What exactly to you is growth mindset? Like, is it what we were talking about earlier with like kind of growing through your go through?
It definitely is. I think
Yeah.
it's definitely having the mindset of saying, okay, in order for me to have growth, I have to have continued improvement
Yep.
to grow. In order for me to have continued improvement to grow, I have to continually find things that I can be better on, right? Things to learn. And it's really kind of what we've talked about in the interview, like those different processes of having growth and finding out ways to learn new things. And that's really exciting. Like when you can do that, that is really, really exciting.
So let's talk about your why. Why is having a why important?
Having a why is super important because when you face challenges, if it's just about you, you'll give it up or quit,
Yeah.
right? But if you know that it's bigger than you and you have a why of why you're doing it, if you know the why, the what, the how, the when, none of that stuff matters
Yep.
because you're tapped into your why.
And how has your why changed as you've gone through life? Has it changed?
Yeah, I don't know that it's changed. I think kind of like we talked about having the core values, core principles, understanding to prioritize and making what's important. Like those things really haven't changed.
Yep.
Kind of the how, the when, the what. Some of that stuff is ever evolving, but the why is, man, just striving to make a positive impact. Each moment of each day, and I'm truly grateful for the opportunities to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what I strive to do.
Yeah, I remember just thinking about like my why. That really helped me get through
Yeah.
a lot of that pretty grueling weight training in high school, and then just in general, like thinking if I'm kind of unmotivated that day or I don't want to do something, just thinking, okay, why? Like, what's my why? Like, why do I want to do this?
Yeah.
I don't want to edit this clip like we were talking about earlier, but I enjoy this podcast. Like, I want to make it better.
Yeah.
I want to make it big enough to where I can maybe make money from it, and then provide for people I care about and things like that. It just kind of ties back to. It's real motivating for sure.
Well, I hope this episode, man, sparks some of that for you.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I really like some of the insights that you're giving, like the Opus clips and things like that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Appreciate it.
It's so many things. It's so much knowledge. Like I have my brother-in-laws in technology, and there's some people, and even like I'll tell you, like even like with this situation when we came in, like I'm asking you like, what's your setup? Like how you do this? What do you use for this? Because I'm always, anytime I get an opportunity to be in different environments, and I see that it's something different than what I'm accustomed to, then I'm striving to learn, right? And that helps me be better.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in the fact that everyone has something that they can teach you about.
Oh,
No
without a
matter,
doubt.
like you've been doing the podcast game, you know, 7 months or 7 years and 9 months longer than I have, right? But there still might be things that I picked up from someone who's done it for 20 years that
Yeah.
they were given some of their insights, and then I took that, and
Yep.
maybe you just
Yep.
weren't able to hear it, and then
Yep.
I give that to you, right?
And I'm gonna even hit you with this, just like you broke down the times and the years. But even though I've done that much longer, like when I came in, I was asking you questions.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still striving to learn too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that the beauty of that is we never want to get in a position where we feel like we know it all. Or
Yeah.
we got it, because when you feel like that, somebody just beat you.
Yeah.
And that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another quote for you from Seneca. He said, I'm a paraphrase here because I don't know exactly what he said.
yeah.
But basically along the lines of like, a man cannot learn what he thinks he already knows. If you walk into a situation with a big ego, like you've been doing it a long time, like you own the place, like no one there can teach you anything, then you're not going to learn anything. You're going to stagnate.
Yeah.
And some of like the best learners that I've ever met, especially being at UT, it's this huge university. There's some real good learners there. They're humble and they're willing to listen to anybody. And if you got an idea, it doesn't matter if you're in your first semester of college,
Yeah.
or if you're a high schooler, or if you've been in the field for 40 years, they're going to listen to you with the same amount of respect.
Yeah.
And they're going to ask you questions, right?
I think that's just hearing you talk about that. I think for me, that was a really cool. That's why I love the college environment, because the college environment is conducive to growth. It's conducive to learning. It's conducive to developing quality relationships.
Yep.
Because like you got people that come from all walks of life, different
yeah.
ages, races, whatever, backgrounds, beliefs, and you're all coming there for one cause, is to learn.
Yeah.
Right? And I love that type of environment, because you have continued growth.
Yep.
And I'll even tell you, fast forward, some of my best friends or best opportunities that I've had have come from people that I've connected with in college and built relationships. Like I have a character development program, and the guy that the first school that I had it in was his school. He was my college teammate, right? Like I have a contract with a company in California or West Coast, in Nevada as well, that I do like professional development, speaking, training for the company. And so like that guy, he was my college teammate. He's like big guy in the company there. And so like when I had tore my ACL in college, he took care of me and made sure that I ate, all of those things. And so like all of that stuff, man, opportunities bring opportunities, like we talked about.
Yeah.
And when you treat people right and do things the right way, like again, we've said it a few times, organically those things are going to come back to you.
Yeah. Yeah, you talk about the college environment, and I do want to talk to you about your experience playing college football. Where did you play exactly?
I played at West Texas A&M, Division II school in the Panhandle it's in Canyon, Texas, up by Amarillo.
And, what was that experience like? I mean, there's not a lot of people that, get to play college football.
Tough?
Yeah.
No, I think the first thing is like where I went to school, man, it was like a 9.5-hour drive from my hometown.
Yeah.
Still in the same state, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how big Texas is, right? And it was different, getting out of the box, going to an unfamiliar place. I knew no one there, but there was opportunity to do something that I've always wanted to do, and it was neat, man. It was neat to be able to be around. At the time, I didn't know it. As I grew and got around more of those people, I was around some great people there. I was blessed to have some great coaches, great teammates. Like I said, still amazing relationships that I still have today. Learned a lot. College, and I say this a lot too, college showed me who I am, right? It showed me that growing up, I was taught some good stuff.
Yeah.
It showed me that all I needed to do was just hang on to that good stuff that I've been doing to get me there so far. It's the same stuff. Like that same stuff that you do, like the core common principles, working hard. Like do that in college, you're gonna be all right.
Yep.
But then I really learned that I just do that in life. That's gonna take me through life. It's the same stuff I still do today. And so it really showed me lots about myself. I learned a lot about myself. Cause y'all know, like that first semester for sure, it's lonely.
Oh yeah.
I even think I told Miles that when he went, like, man, it's tough. Like that first semester, like it's gonna seem lonely, but just get there, put your head down, go to work, learn what you're supposed to learn, and then that second semester it'll get better. You'll start meeting people, you'll know your way around, you know where you gotta be. And then, that summer, that next semester, it's live. Let's go. Like I ain't going home. Like man, you coming? Nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm not coming home. Right? But it was great for me. It was a great experience. It taught me so much about life. It taught me so much about myself. And it showed me that like I can do things independently on my own.
Yeah, that kind of sense of independence I can also very, very much testify for. In high school I spent a lot of time alone and home alone, and I just hated it in high school. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And then I got to college, and then I was, like in high school, like, yeah, I would be home alone a lot, but I was still able to go see my friends every day at high school. You spend 7-8 hours, around people that you're closest to. But in college, it's different because, like, I'm living in an apartment.
Yeah.
I got my own place.
You gotta figure it out, dog.
Yeah, like I'm
Yeah.
like fully, truly alone. And
Yeah, like who you gonna? No,
Yeah.
it's you.
yeah, and I mean, it was easy. It was easy when I had a girlfriend, but then like things don't work out. You're single again, and you're just alone.
Yeah, you like no, it's you.
It's just me. And you get this sense, like at first it kind of sucks, but then I kind of grew into enjoying it. Like now I like, I was on a trip to San Francisco last week, and I got back and I just spent like 4 days just alone. Like, I was like with my dog and I was taking care of my dog, but like I was just kind of alone and I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
And it was
yeah.
You have that sense of independence, and you're just working on what you want to work on. And
That's it, man.
yeah,
It's so cool. Like it's good to hear you say that too, because it can be tough, but I think that if you continue to have the right focus on what you need to focus on, then you learn so much about yourself.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, adversity really does build character, and
Exactly.
just having some time alone with your own thoughts
Yeah.
I think more people need that. More people need to go out camping and just be alone with your own thoughts for a couple days, come
And
back.
I think too, sometimes people don't really realize that they need that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're so caught up in like the rat race, and
Yeah.
you're just like moving on from thing to thing, to task, and you don't take a second to just, what am I doing?
Slow it
What
down,
direction am I
enjoy it.
going?
Yep.
Like,
Reflection.
yeah, you got the blinders on and you just want to move forward, but maybe you're not going in the right direction. Is kind of the way I see it.
I love it, man.
So you mentioned that you injured your ACL in college. What was that journey through injury like? I can say from personal experience, it's tough, especially when you got the expectations of teammates and things like that.
Man, probably one of the hardest things I ever did in my life. And I say that because what hurts you the most is not the injury. what hurts you the most is that it hits you in the heart, man.
Yeah.
But then also it does something to your mindset too, right? And so people don't really, I think, really understand the depth of an injury. Like the depth of an injury, man, it cuts deep. Like I tore my ACL, but like, man, I'm in a place on my own. Like I don't know what my future's gonna be. You know, like I love this. You know, like this is I've worked my tail off my whole life to do this. You know, and so like all of those things that you consider in your heart and then in your mind, man, you really have to go back and make it simple, right? So that's why like doing the rehab is important. Yeah, I got to do rehab on my knee, but man, I got to do rehab on my heart. I got to do rehab on my mind, on my thinking, right? And so I learned to take just one step at a time. Like we talked about, what can I control? What's out of my control?
Yep.
Right? And I think when you do that, and I'll just go back again. Like I don't know if you know, I've had a hip replacement, right? Both of them. And so like even in the surgery after that, like I'm like, man, let's go, let's rehab, right? And I knew that by me attacking the rehab because of the knee experience, that I knew that on the other side of it I was gonna be better, but I just needed to just get rolling. Like, hey, we're gonna have you in this rehab. We have you just let's go. Like somebody gonna take me. Let's just get it. Let's go to work. Right? Because I knew that I'm gonna be better by the work that I put into it. But it took that first experience with the knee to kind of see. But then also that experience helped me in life as well, because there's some injuries that we're gonna have in life.
Yep.
And injuries come in the form of breakups, tough relationships, losing jobs, being in situations where people don't believe in you. Being like tough times in your life are those injuries, right? And you're gonna have to do the rehab on your heart and your mind.
And I love how you're actively finding the good in
Yeah.
the situation with your knee,
Yep.
to where, you're like, I've been through this before and I got through it. So you attack that rehab with the hip replacement, right?
Yep.
Like you have the right attitude going into
Yep.
it. You have this momentum, right? You have that confidence,
Yep.
and you just keep barreling forward.
You know where I learned that?
awesome.
From the knee experience, but the weight room. We talked about it's the same thing. Like, bro, in order for me to move the weight, I got to move the weight.
Yeah,
Like, I can't be afraid. Put it on there. Let's go.
no shortcuts.
Yeah, no shortcuts. I'm gonna do it right. Put it on there. Let's move the weight. Let's go to work.
Yep.
You got me. You're here with me. Well, let's go. We good then. And so I think when you attack life in that manner, you get the maximum results from that as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Rock says that, or he said that in a podcast I was listening to. Everything comes back to the weight room, like whether you're not, you like, for everyone that plays sports.
Yeah.
Man, I've done a lot of sports, jiu-jitsu, wrestling,
Yeah.
football,
Yeah.
track and field, MMA. It all like when you're done with those sports, where do you go back to? You go back to the gym. You go back to lifting weights. And I feel like it really teaches a lot of the lessons that you're talking about,
I'm glad you said that, because we talked about, like, I dump stuff. Like, I have something in my deal. Life is weights. Weights is life. And like all of those things that we talked about, there's times in life where you don't feel like doing it, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to do it, like, but you know that by going in there and going to work, attacking it, putting the weight on there, even when you don't feel like it, when you get done with it, you like the results.
Yeah.
And that's life. Sometimes you may not feel like doing whatever or going to work, but at the end of the day, when you do those things, the benefits far outweigh the whatever you propose in your mind the outcome could be. So yeah.
Yeah. I am curious, like, what the training was like and what the day-to-day life was like being, a college athlete. What was that like?
Like, man, they they ain't giving you that scholarship stuff for free. Like you got to work, Jack. You know the life. Like you got to like that. I think that was the biggest thing that like really, really surprised me because like growing up as a high school athlete, I was blessed to have some older guys at my school that played college. So in the summer when they would come home, I would work out with them. And so like the tempo, the intensity of what they did, it was good for me because I kind of saw it. But then I would ask them, and I remember this. It's funny you asked me that question because I remember this asking them, man, what is college football like? I remember being on the track. I can tell you where I was at when I asked them the question because throughout my college days, even today, that still rings in my head. And so one of the guys said, man, it's going to be the toughest thing you ever did in your life, but it's going to be the best thing you ever did in your life. And I didn't understand that. Like, I didn't know what they meant until I actually got into it.
Yeah.
And so, like, on those tough days, we was having to do some crazy stuff I ain't never done before. Like, man, y'all trying to kill me, right? But I was thinking of the toughest thing, but it's the best thing. Okay, y'all said it's going to be the best. Okay, I guess I'll push through, right? But just, man, like, I remember, like say 2 a day, it was 4 days, right? So everything was calculated. Like, it was like a strict regimen, right? Like breakfast at this time, you check in, and everything is detailed. Like they make sure you eat your meals, you weigh in, check your hydration level, like all of that stuff. And I was like, man, this is like this is an operation, right? Like this is like for real, like a man, this is business. Like this is no longer is the like, hey, we go play. Like have fun, play football. No, bro, this is business.
Yeah.
Right. And it's cutthroat. Like if you don't do what you're supposed to do next, you out of there. Like it don't matter. Like everybody is good. All blue chip, everybody there is amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And so like even in the classroom, right. And so if you don't push yourself to up your game and be the best version of yourself, like I said, you either get better or go home, and going home with an option.
Yeah. Yeah, like everyone there was the best player on their high school team.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, yeah. And so, man, I just remember like seeing the schedule like the first time on paper. Like I was there. I'm like, wow. Like they told me.
Yeah.
But like when you see it on paper, like, bro, like, so like the only time I'm gonna get in the day is like a 30-minute lunch, right? Like, wow, and maybe and then actually it's an hour, but part of the hour is I'm gonna eat and I'm so tired I got to get a nap, right? Before we have to go back to meetings and then be on the field and then eat and then lift and then study. So like all of those things, but what it did though is along that discipline, it created discipline too, because there's a lot of guys that couldn't handle that.
Yep.
They couldn't just do what you were told to do, right? Just show up, do what you can do right now, and then as you learn those things, man, it creates discipline in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the transition from, playing college ball to now having a career with people? Like, I don't want to like say that you were like separated from other people, but it's a different world. Like people are telling you, you got to do this at this time, this or that. Like you said, like you have this tight schedule, and then all of a sudden you're just kind of thrust to the world, and like everything is on you now, right? You don't have a coach telling you, you need to do this at this time.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to before college.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to as a kid. Like my mom was my first coach, so I had it at the house, and my mama didn't play. Like, no, boy, you gonna do that. Like so I was blessed to have discipline growing up. Like I didn't know how much that discipline was gonna benefit me in my life. I just thought, especially as I got to be a teenager, where I thought I knew things, right? As a teenager, you know things, right? Crazy mama tripping, she don't know. Okay, buddy, right? But I was able to, as I got into that college situation, I was able to look back and like, Oh yeah, maybe that lady was right. She knew a little something. So I just figured, man, like, man, I've learned discipline as a kid. So really, it wasn't. I mean, it was a lot, but it wasn't out of the comfort zone of having discipline in my life, right? So I was blessed to have that. But then when I went into the world, um, the world was easy.
Yeah.
Like bro, like man, these people out here trying to take your head off, like trying to kill you, like they putting you through all of this stuff. Like that's nothing.
Yeah.
Like life is nothing compared to that stuff. Like like all of this stuff I had to do just to prepare to get the opportunity, right? And so I think that in life, I was prepared for life from the E+E+R+A
Yes, sir.
that we talked about. And so when you get to life, life is easy because that's really the fruits of the labor because I've put in the hard work
Yeah.
to be there.
Yeah, I talked about that with a friend of mine who also did Big Five. Do you remember Trayvon Hill?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He was talking about like some of his experiences. He does shot put for I forget what school he goes to, somewhere in Mississippi. And Miles, do you remember what school he goes to? Oh, Arkansas. Okay, my fault. Sorry, Trayvon. Um, but like we were talking about how he was talking about like some of his struggles. I was like, dude, we made it through Big Five. We could do anything.
Oh, yeah.
And it's that same mentality where it's like, you're just in this weight room and it's so grueling and you made it through all the training and you made it through the football. You made it through watching yourself mess up on film and
Yeah.
your coach is telling you're freaking, what were you doing? What were you thinking?
Yeah,
All this stuff.
yeah.
And you go through that adversity and everything else in life is just a little bit easier.
Oh yeah, just it makes you better. Um, like we talked, discipline allows you the freedom to be happy. It's important to make sure you just push yourself and learn the lessons that you're supposed to learn. Show up every day, do what you're supposed to do, and in that you'll learn the important lessons. That's gonna help you later in life,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
That's why I talked about too, being grateful for what you have, and then realizing, okay, what am I learning today?
Yeah.
Right? You're learning that I can do tough stuff, right? Like I'm learning, like I'm showing myself, like I can show up every day and just do hard stuff, right? And so when you do that, it creates a mindset, like you're a tough joker, right? So there's nothing in life, I'm telling you, and I even tell guys this, I've told them as players, like, man, there's nothing in life that you're gonna face that's I mean, of course, like you have death in the family, those kind of things.
Yeah.
But for the most part, there's nothing in life that's gonna be tougher than those situations like playing hot Texas football.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Emphasis on hot.
yeah, hot.
Yeah.
Like tough, hot
Yeah.
Texas football. Like, bro, like it's nothing in life it's not too many things that's gonna be tougher than that. That's gonna be more challenging
Yep.
than that in your life, man. Get to
Thank
the
you so
house.
much for coming on.
Man, thank you so much for
I
having me.
appreciate it, yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity. It's been great, man.
Uh-huh.
Again, just seeing the journey of what you're doing and have done. So happy for you and
Thank
grateful
you
for the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, it's the feeling is mutual. It's great to see your evolution from kind of a teacher to more of just the influencer and you're really getting your message out there to thousands of people. It's really cool to see. I want to give you kind of a pedestal here at the end of the podcast to kind of promote anything that you got going on. You
Yeah.
know, like where can people find you?
yeah.
What's new with Chip Baker?
So my social media is at Chip Baker TSC, as in the Success Chronicles. All of my social media is that, except for X, and it's Chip Baker 19. So feel free to reach out and check out some of the stuff, and all things positive. If you see something on there that you enjoy, that you like, I ask that you just share it with somebody that it'll make a difference in their life. And so with me, continuing to write books, continuing to speak and pour into others, and trying to make a positive influence. My goals now, reassessing my goals, is to do more so that I can do more.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's kind of my emphasis right now. I want to, I'm involved in lots. I'm a board member of Fellowship of Christian Athletes North Houston. I'm a board member with Mike Evans. I'm on his board for what he does, his family foundation. Grateful
Mm-hmm.
for both of those opportunities. But there's some groups, like I do a speaker series at Lone Star College,
Mm-hmm.
on Tuesday evenings. And so there's some groups that I speak to often, like kid groups, community groups. And so I just want to do more so that I can do more. And so I say that because, just looking for more opportunities to speak corporate, train, which what that'll do, it'll allow me the opportunities to, take some of those groups to professional sporting events and have some experiences that they haven't experienced before to provide those opportunities. So that's kind of the next phase of things that I'm working on right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Go get it.
Yes, sir. Go get it. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Heights of Humanity podcast. If you'd like to learn more about Mr. Baker, you can check out his book series called The Impact of Influence, which you can find on Amazon in both physical and electronic forms. You can also find Mr. Baker on Instagram, X, YouTube, and more. Just search for Chip Baker TSC. Finally, if you're someone who loves discussions about success, you can check out Mr. Baker's podcast called The Success Chronicles, available on all major streaming platforms. If you want to see more of the Heights of Humanity podcast, you can check out the official website at www.heightsofhumanitypodcast.com. You can also find the podcast on Instagram, X, YouTube, Spotify, and more platforms. Just search Heights of Humanity Podcast. As always, thank you so much for listening. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'll see you all in 2024.